When you think of an overpowered main character in anime, what do you usually think of? Is it unmatched supernatural abilities, a hidden power, or unrivaled intelligence? Well, today I'm going to count down the top 10 anime that I believe have an overpowered main character. Who knows, maybe if you stick around through the whole video, you might even find an anime that you haven't seen yet. So without further ado, let's get right into the list. Number 10. Blood Lad.
Boss!
Well. It appears that the boss has finally shown up. The one whose name is known throughout the East Demon world, the Vampire Stas.
Starting us off is Blood Lad. This anime follows the story of Stas Charlie Blood, a powerful vampire and ruler of the Eastern Demon world. According to the rumors revolving around him, Stas is a sadistic and merciless monster, but in reality, Stas is an otaku obsessed with Japanese culture and harbors no interest in human blood. When a Japanese girl named Fuyumi wanders into the demon world and meets her protagonist, Stas is overjoyed, but happiness quickly turns to sadness due to Fuyumi dying shortly after an attack in Stas' territory. Stas vows to resurrect Fuyumi, as that would mean that he can travel to the human world, something that he's always wanted to do. This anime is pretty fast paced, but attempts to provide an ample amount of character development with each episode. The show is tagged as a comedy, so you should expect a good laugh out of it. Its humor also sometimes involves references to other anime, which they execute on perfectly. Number 9. The Legend of the Legendary Heroes.
You are not a monster!
Despite this anime's unappealing name, it's actually really good. The Legend of the Legendary Heroes follows the story of Reiner Lute, an Alpha Stigma wielder. In a world filled with magic users, the Alpha Stigma allows its wielder to analyze and copy the magic of any individual, making it similar to a Sharingan from Naruto. However, the Alpha Stigma is more infamously known for taking over their owners in times of extreme sadness or anger and bringing destruction to all in its path. After many of Reiner's classmates winded up dying in war, he vowed to make a peaceful nation with his best friend Sion. Fast forward a couple of years and now Sion has become the king. He orders Reiner and a girl named Fairies to locate relics that'll assist the two in fulfilling their dream. One of the most entertaining part of the show is the dialogue between Reiner and Fairies. They have to be one of my favorite anime duos of all time. Number 8. The Devil's a Part-Timer.
So now you totally smashed my bike! How could you do something like that? What the heck did Doulahead ever do to you, huh? Now you're gonna owe me for the new bike, the bike registration fee, and the oversized garbage disposal fee.
Typically when people refer to an isekai, they mean transported from Earth to somewhere else, but this show's actually the opposite. The Devil's a Part-Timer follows Satan, the peak of evil and ruler of the underworld, being forced to make ends meet by working his butt off at a nearby McDonald's. Apparently his concept of world domination transferred over as well, since he's determined to climb the corporate ladder and rule Earth, even if it means one customer at a time. The humor of the show comes from Satan's struggles to simply survive in this strange new world. Talk about a fall from grace. The most notorious evil in the universe is reduced to a simple worker at a fast food joint. This anime executes well on the material at hand. Every character gets enough screen time and there are a lot of epic moments to keep you in there. Despite seeming straightforward in plot, this anime will constantly keep you hooked and you will probably get a good laugh out of it as well. Number 7. 100.
Take a bow, Kisaragi. This is it for you.
This anime is set in a post-apocalyptic world where strange creatures called savages are attacking Earth. Hundreds are a unique weapon that get their form and abilities depending on its wielder and are the only efficient method to counter the savages. Those who have an affinity to wield 100 are scouted out and trained so that they can master their own. The name that these trained users are dubbed is Slayers, which makes sense since their entire goal is to create warriors that can slay the savages. Our protagonist Hayato Kisaragi was scouted out and enrolled in Little Garden, a marine academy city. However, through a series of unfortunate events, Hayato winds up in a duel with the school's most powerful slayer, which there, his potential for his 100 is shined. Number 6. Stigma of the Wind.
Yeah, it's much nicer here now.
Despite being the son of a family of elite fire users, Kazuma Kanagi had no affinity for it whatsoever. Kazuma's father still had faith in his son and allowed him to redeem himself by facing off against his 12-year-old cousin. Mind you, he was 18. Sadly, due to his inability to use fire, he was humiliated, deemed a failure, and disowned from the Kanagi family. 4 years later, he returned as a powerful wind user and changed his last name to Yanagi to represent his new self. However, at this time, several members from the Kanagi family were put to rest by a wind user, leading the surviving members to believe that it was Kazuma. Now, in an effort to clear his name, Kazuma was forced into a cooperation from the family that disowned him to take down this powerful wind user. This show definitely has some satisfying moments. To see such a weak and timid character return overpowered is amazing on its own, but his battle against the most powerful fire user in the Kanagi family is even more satisfying. Number 5. Classroom of the Elite.
You know what's good for you.
Brother, please just listen.
You don't have the right to better yourself, nor do you have the ability to do so. Someday you'll learn.
When people think of school, they usually think of textbooks, subjects, and careers. After all, schools are supposed to prepare you for the future. However, Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing School is a bit different. It aims not only to test the students on an academic level, but also their skills in survival in the outside world. The school was created by the Japanese government to instruct and foster the generation of people that will support the country in their future. This anime follows the story of Ayanokoji, a quiet and unassuming boy who would rather keep his distance from others instead of conversing in any dialogue. Despite being a student in D class, which is where the school dumps all their inferior students, it is revealed that Ayanokoji has an aptitude to reach the top of his class, but for some reason he doesn't want to. However, after meeting 2 other students in his class, Ayanokoji's situation began to change. Number 4. Charlotte. Once in every 75 years, the comet Charlotte completes its cycle around Earth. The dust particles from this comet grant unique supernatural abilities, so every time it passes by, it causes people to manifest supernatural abilities. These powers can be honestly anything, from the main character Yu's ability to temporarily take control of people's bodies, to turning objects into gold and much more. After the enigmatic Naotomori catches Yu using his powers, she basically blackmails him into transferring into a school for supernatural ability users. The student council of the school is led by Now and is tasked with tracking down others who abuse their supernatural ability. As you progress with the story, you find yourself getting more and more attached to the characters. One of the most popular things in this anime is Yu's breaking point, but you're gonna have to watch to know what that means. Also, while being able to take control of someone's body is definitely an overpowered ability on its own, the true nature of Yu's ability is much more OP.
ゲームよりリアルの方が面白い。
Number 3. Magi, The Adventures of Sinbad.
シンドバッド。
バナナサイカー
Following the story of Sinbad, the future king of Sindra, this anime sets out to show you how epic of a character Sinbad is. Despite living in an impoverished town plagued by economic instability and war repercussions, Sinbad lived his life cheerfully. Well, until a chain of events changed his life forever. Strange dungeons began to pop up around the world, and with them came a lot of money, status, and the existence of a magical entity that'll grant you powers. Inspired by the shocking events in his childhood and the words of his strange new friend Yuna, the now 14-year-old Sinbad sets out to explore a dungeon, believing within it lies the powers to make his dreams come true. Up until this point, no one has ever made it out of a dungeon alive, but that didn't stop him. Like I previously said, this anime focuses on the early life of Sinbad. It shows you how the future king ventured around the globe, honing his skills and influence, and his search for allies to create the Seven Seas Alliance. I definitely recommend you check this out if you're a fan of Magi the Labyrinth of Magic, but what's stopping you if you haven't? Number 2. In Another World with My Smartphone.
Hoping you might be willing to part with that shiny antler for 1 gold?
Heck yeah.
Sweet. The hell's wrong with you?
I think I'm allowed to destroy my own property.
People pass on every day, but what happens when God accidentally ends them? Well, ask Toya. You see, God accidentally struck Toya down with a bolt of lightning, and as an apology, he gave him the offer of a new life in a fantasy realm. Toya happily agrees with the condition that he can bring his cell phone along with him. Godly modifiers were added to Toya's cell phone, making it easily rechargeable with magic and capable of unlimited Wi-Fi. As a further apology for the inconvenience, Toya also had his physical, magical, and cognitive abilities buffed immensely. Taking advantage of his second life, Toya befriends many different people, which were honestly mainly females and high-ranking people in the New World. He begins to travel from country to country, solving political disputes, minor quests, and simply enjoying himself with his newfound allies.
My name's Elise Silueska, and this is my younger twin. Her name's Lynn Silueska.
Thank you for helping us, sir.
Hi, I'm Mochizuki Toya.
Number 1. Mob Psycho 100.
Can you feel it? Rage burning in me.
This anime follows the daily exploits of the 8th grader Mob. Due to being a powerful esper, Mob decided from a young age to suppress his emotions so that his abilities don't run wild. In order to learn to better manage his powers, Mob enlisted himself under the wing of Reagan, a con artist who claims to be an esper himself. Mob wants to live a normal life like those around him, but always winds up in a situation that requires him to use his abilities. The suppression that Mob forced upon himself makes him only capable of taking so much of one emotion before it hits 100%. When that happens, he gains an enormous power boost, activating his dormant abilities. This anime's incredible attention to detail, amazing fights, well-written story, and unmatched soundtrack makes sense that this anime garnered such a huge audience. Each character in the show feels well-written and explored, from the protagonist himself to the members of the fitness club. Everyone plays a role in the story and further influences the development of Mob and vice versa. For those who have not seen Mob Psycho 100, I 100% recommend you check out this anime.